Hi there, this is Noah with ERS. This is going to be a brief tutorial on how to use the routing part of our system. Thanks to Elena from Froggy Hops and Pam and Steve from Three Monkeys for allowing us to use their folders as examples. So I'm logged into the system. I'm in the delivery area. On this screen, the green box means delivery, the red means pickup, and the blue box means it's like an overnight event or a multi-day event. Anyway, so I'm going to click into May 25th of last year. So a couple of things. What we're looking at here on the map view is all of our events for the day. Those colored and numbered pins correspond to the truck numbers. So this is truck number 1, and the pins, here correspond to that truck, and this is truck number 2. What we see in this upper left-hand corner here, that's the start time of the event. So that's when we have to have everything set up. This is the time that the system expects us to have the event set up, based on drive time and setup time. If you see red in any of those, that means you're going to be late if you leave things as they are. So we're going to need to make some adjustments, which we'll do in a little while. If you click on one of these events, a couple of things happen. Number one, the map pin for that event expands and gets bigger, so we can see that that's this event right here. And it also highlights the corresponding pickup for that delivery. So if we were to actually click on the pickup, it's going to highlight the corresponding delivery. So in other words, this is the same order. It's order number 12047. This is the drop-off, and this is the pickup. And then, of course, information about the order also pops up in here. And you can actually move the delivery and pickup date by clicking on there, too. Now, there's a couple of other settings that we can change in here. These are default settings, but we can change them on a per order basis. So window refers to the amount of time that we can be early to an event. So we can be up to 16 hours early to this event. If the customer had told us the event starts at 10 a.m. and we're not going to be home until 9 a.m., then I would go in here and change this to 1 hour. And then I would rerun the algorithms, and the system would probably reorder things a little bit with that in mind. Setup time can also be adjusted if we felt like it's going to take longer than 45 minutes. And you can see down the line it makes everything else get ready a little bit earlier because we're taking 10 fewer minutes. So when we click into this truck, it looks like I already assigned a driver. Could assign an assistant, but I'm not going to this time. We can also change the start time if we feel like we don't need all that extra time. So looking down the line here, it looks like we could probably leave at 6:30 without any problems. Yeah, everything looks okay down the line. But if we changed it to 6:45, we probably could get away with it, but that's really cutting it close here. We literally have a minute. So I'm thinking let's play it safe and leave it at 6:30. So let's see what we're going to have to do to fix this right here. I'm going to click the lock to move things around. You can move these around, but you have to click the lock first. So, well, let's see what the deal is here. So that event is here. This event is there. This event is there. Oh, and this little icon here is the warehouse. So clearly this event is farther away, which is why it put it third. But it could be that if we move this event over here, nope, that'll make us late to both of those events. So maybe we do it first. And we're still late to both of those events. All right, well, let's move this back to where it was. And then let's see about maybe putting it on this truck. Okay, that ruined everything there. Okay, let's go back to the drawing board a little bit. Yeah, we're just going to have to leave earlier. No two ways about that. The alternative is we could just actually put that on its own truck. And then we can move this back to 6 a.m. In fact, we could even make that one also be 6:30. I mean, it's really up to you how you would handle something like that. In this particular case, I'd probably, have this truck leave at 7 a.m. Well, maybe that's cutting it a little close. Maybe we'll just have them all leave at 6:30. So we can also add warehouse stops. For example, so these drop-offs don't need to be done for, we're going to be like 2.5 hours early to this one. We have tons of time on that. So we could actually do this, add a warehouse stop, and then we can tell the guys, yeah, before you do your your afternoon deliveries. Why don't you come back to the warehouse? You can have lunch. Let's say this stop is going to last longer than that. Let's say this stop is going to, I'll have them at the warehouse for like an hour and a half. And they'll have lunch and sweep the, in fact, we could even have them be there for like 2 hours. We'll have them, sweep the warehouse and have lunch and whatnot. And then they can get out and still do their deliveries in plenty of time. I could even tell them, add a warehouse stop at the very end of the day. Now, looking at this, this is kind of nuts. Like, our guys are literally looking at working until 3 in the morning. So we would probably move these around and put a bunch of those pickups on this truck. I'm not going to bother just for the sake of time. I don't want this video to be like 10 billion hours long. But that's all we would do there. We would just put them on this truck. And then we can do the same thing here. We'll add a warehouse stop in here. Yeah, so then we can change the duration on that stop. We'll make this one an hour and a half. And those guys will still be on time to their stuff this afternoon. So that's how that works. I'm going to go ahead and call this good. We could also text this route to our driver. Oh, you know what? I should probably lock that again so I don't accidentally move things. We can text this route to our driver. What we can do is we can click into view route. And then we can do things like we can toggle the map. If we don't feel like our drivers need that visual map, we just want to send them the turn-by-turn directions and the load sheets, then we can go ahead and do that. And this is what they'll receive. So when we click this, it's going to send them a text message with all that information. There's a link they click on and it opens up this information for them. Make sure that you have your driver's phone numbers and their mobile carrier, like Verizon or T-Mobile or whatever, listed in their user profile. And that's going to be at admin, general config, users. If you don't have the mobile carrier, the system can't send them that text message. Surface load options, it looks like they're using it. And basically that's going to tell you all the additional items that you need with a bounce house based on the setup surface. So setup surface is grass, and Elena has put in that she needs stakes, blower, and an extension cord. I definitely recommend you use surface load options. It makes sure that your drivers don't forget the stakes or the blower and the cord at the warehouse. Okay, I'm going to call this good. I'm not going to send Josh that text, but you would do that by clicking here. So now that we've done that, I want to show you some other little things that routing does for us. So when I click into this coming May 16th in 3 Monkeys, I see that there's a couple of things. Number one, this is an invalid address. That's what that little triangle there tells us. And looking at it, it's pretty clear to me what the problem is. There's a 6-digit zip code. So once we change that zip code in there, that triangle will go away because we now have a valid address. The system always puts jobs with an invalid address on their own truck, just as a precaution. So what happens is once you get the correct address in there, you want to go ahead and rerun the algorithms by clicking on this little thing there. Now nothing changed because I didn't actually change any settings, but most likely in a situation like that, this job would have been put on a different truck because the system says, oh, okay, now I have a valid address, and it's not a big deal for one of these trucks to make that stop. Now, and I'm not going to bother with this because, again, just for the sake of time, I'm not going to bother changing this, but clearly there's a problem there that will need to be addressed. But this little symbol right here tells us that this event is at a park, and park window is going to be different from your regular window, so the idea being that you don't want to leave your inventory sitting unattended at a park for hours and hours at a time. So your park window is set at 1 hour, and you get to change these settings. The delivery window is a default setting that you can change yourself at admin, general config, routing settings. And then there's a separate one for park window. So the park window is set at 1 hour for this account, and it looks like the regular window is 4 hours. So this is a very powerful part of our system. I really recommend you use it. It can really reduce the amount of time that it takes you to manage and plan your deliveries and really eliminate mistakes with those load sheets and surface load options and whatnot. Oh, and one other quick thing I should mention about these load sheets. These are actually clickable boxes. So when your drivers receive this load sheet, they can go ahead and check these things off as they're loading them onto the truck. So it's a super powerful part of the system, and if you're not using it, I highly recommend that you do, because not only will you save time managing your deliveries for the day, but you'll save tons of time on the deliveries themselves. If you're running all around town using an inefficient route, that's wasted gas and time, which, of course, we all know time is money. I hope this was helpful. Please do feel free to reach out if you have any further questions. Tech support's always available, 505-435-9731, extension 102, or support@eventrentalsystems.com. All right, thanks much. Have a great day.